So welcome. Today I have Nicole, who owns her own business. So welcome, Nicole.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Can you tell me in general about your trade and how you got into this particular job?
All right. Well, I kind of have two trades going. So the first one is painting. And I started painting right out of high school. I enjoyed painting in art class. And then so I liked working with the medium, and I thought it would be a fun thing to do as a job, was to get a house painter so I could work outside, work with my hands and use the paint. And ever since then, I've stuck with it off and on throughout the years. And then carpentry, I've always had an interest in carpentry, but it wasn't till about 10 years ago that I went to take a carpentry program at Red River and learned how to build things more. And then so now my business is doing a bit of both.
Nice. I really like to hear, and I'm going to highlight one thing that you mentioned, which was all great. But students, follow your passion. Nicole is passionate about painting, and that really struck a chord with her. And she followed it through, and now that's part of her business is painting. So again, students, follow your passions. Right, moving on to the next question. Do you need an education for your trade? I know you alluded to that a little bit with Red River College. And how much education is required?
So let's see, with painting, I really didn't get any formal training. I sort of joined a student painting company, and they train you on the job. And I haven't gotten any formal training with painting, but there are painting programs at Red River. I think it would be beneficial to take them. I'm really interested to see what they're teaching people, things that I probably don't know, like I've had to learn the hard way. And with carpentry, I would definitely recommend taking the carpentry program. I know that there are 4 levels, I think, before you can get your red seal. Personally, I stopped at level 1 just because I found it hard to find somebody to apprentice under after I was done. And then the painting world kind of sucked me back in, just because it took me a while to find a job, and it was easier for me to find a painting job with all the painting experience I'd built up before then.
Nice. I like to hear for you, it has different avenues.
Yeah,
you don't necessarily need to go to college to start in a trades, right?
Yeah, it helps to have somebody show you the ropes, though. Like, there are a lot of things I don't think I would have been able to pick up on my own unless I had like a carpenter who was there to teach me. Painting, you're just going to get better the more you do it, really. But it's good to have good mentors and people you can learn off of.
All right, so that's good to keep note of, students. Moving on to the next question. What is a salary range for your trade? Now, again, you kind of do 2 different trades and have your own business, so I can't wait to hear how you're going to answer this one.
Yeah, so the salary range is like, it's a huge range. So I know as you're starting out in the trades, generally you're making from 15 to 20 an hour, depending on your experience, depending on the company that hires you. But as you progress, there's really an opportunity to make quite a bit of money, especially with the way some of the jobs are set up. For myself, I do a lot of subcontracting, which is where a bigger company will get the jobs from the customers, and then they hire somebody like me to come in and do the work. And when you're doing that, so they pay you by the job. And if you're efficient and you can get it done like really quickly, you're experienced, you can make sometimes like $1,000 a day. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not always like that, but if you work hard and there's potential to make a lot of money.
All right, students. So if you want to pick a trade, hang in there. It will start a little slow, 15 to 20 an hour, but a lot of room for growth from what Nicole is saying with her experience. Please describe a typical day for work for you.
Well, sadly, I don't have like super typical days. It changes all the time. My start time can change every morning depending on how much work I have to get done that day, who my customer is, when they want me to start. I have a family as well, so sometimes my responsibilities to them can affect what time I start. I would like to be at a job site for about 9 o'clock. And also, again, depending on how much work I have to do that day, what I want to accomplish, what the job is demanding of me, I might get a lunch break, I might not. And the end of the day, I like to be done by 5 o'clock, but again, because I run my own business and I'm trying to make a lot of people happy, I can work really long days sometimes. Like I feel pretty lucky to be done work by 4 o'clock, if but that's rarely happens, especially in the busy season.
So I heard a couple of things there. You need to be flexible when you're running your
Yeah,
own business in the trades and making sure customers are satisfied with the work you do,
exactly.
and that there are busy seasons and maybe slower seasons as well.
Yeah, for sure.
All
Especially
right.
here in Canada, the summer can get really busy. You could be working 12-hour days for months straight. But then in the winter, it dies down, especially in January, February. And so it's important to plan ahead for that and maybe put some money aside, enough money to keep you going for a whole month during the slow season.
So it sounds for seasonal jobs and owning your own business, budgeting is very important.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
All right, moving on to the next question. Are there certain trades more in demand than other trades that you're aware of?
Um, I I think all trades are in high demand. Like as far as I know, I don't think it's really hard to find a job, especially during the busy season. Um, I've never really had a problem finding a job. I mean, part of that too is you need to get your training, you need to be a good worker in order for people to want to hire you. But once you start making a name for yourself, then it's quite easy to find work.
So I guess for those students in grade 12 and maybe even grade 11 that are graduating this year or finishing up grade 11 this year, and you're interested in the trades, start looking for a job this summer because that could be, sounds like the busy season.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a lot of people are looking for general help in the summer. And it's a great way just to get your foot in the door, see if you even like it before you pursue like the post-secondary.
Nice. Okay, moving on to the next question. Will I earn money while I'm getting an education for my trade, such as if I need to get a red seal or anything of that nature?
I think the way that the apprenticeship programs work is that you do go to school for about an a 5 to 10 month period, and then you have to put in some hours in order to progress to the next level. So yeah, while you're working and putting in your hours, you will be earning a wage. But like during the school season, unless you have a part-time job, you're not going to be making any money.
All right, so that's good for students to know so they could budget for that as well. And you know what? It's good to hear that there is potential to make some money while I'm learning my trade as well.
Exactly.
All right, moving on to the next question. If I pick one trade and I don't like it, can I switch trades?
Absolutely. You can do whatever you want, really. Um, like myself, like painting just sort of came natural to me. And but I always had an interest in carpentry. And so I had to pursue that more. Um, you can change anytime you want. And I think the thing with the trades is you learn a lot of skills that are going to help you like in any trade that you go into. Like a lot of the calculating, a lot of the math, a lot of just the work ethic. It'll help you throughout any avenue you choose to take.
Awesome. So it's good to hear that some of those skills are transferable if you decide on painting like Nicole and want to switch over, or carpentry and want to switch over to a different trade, that those skills are transferable as well. All right, moving on. Next question. What's the difference between a union job versus a non-union job? And this is going to be interesting for you since you own your own business.
Yeah, actually, I don't really have a lot of experience or know a lot about the unions. Yeah, so I'm not too sure at all.
So what about a non-union job then? What can you speak about that, the pros and cons?
Um, well, of like the pros of running your own business. Let's see here. I mean, you do get the flexible schedule, which makes it easier to have a family, and it takes a lot of work though. Like if you want to run your own business, like there are no 9 to 5 hours. Like you have to be hustling the whole time. Like sometimes I'm up till 1 in the morning getting my invoices into people, or returning emails, or even just planning all the supplies and calculating what I'm going to need for my next job to show up ready on a job site, say at 7:30 or 8 in the morning. Like it's a lot of work.
Running your own business, you do not need to be unionized, right?
No, I don't know much about the unions at all. So
And so as somebody who runs their own business, I believe you have the benefit of hiring not students necessarily, but hiring more in summer. And then you know what? If things get really lean and tight in winter, to lay some people off with
yeah,
maybe the
that's true.
possibility of rehiring them in summer again. And so
Yeah,
you
that's true.
definitely have a lot of flexibility in running your own business and having it non-unionized.
That's true. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Nicole. So moving on to the last question I have for you. If I want to learn a trade, what is the best way to get started? Is there anything I could do now in high school to help enter into the trades?
Um, well, like we mentioned at the beginning, you need to follow your passions, right? You need to find something that really interests you in order to be willing to put forth all the effort and the time into really learning that craft. Because if it doesn't interest you, it's going to be extremely hard for you to want to show up every day and put in that work. So if you, yeah, whatever your interests are, I would follow that direction. Um, I think creating just good work habits in high school is really important. A large part of being successful in the trades is just showing up. Like an employer just wants you to be reliable. They want you to be there every day and on time and able to do the work. So if you create those good habits in school, like it'll really help you in the future. Like I know we all wake up and we don't really want to go to work today, or we really don't want to go to school, but you have to train yourself to push past that, because like the hardest part is getting there. And then, but once you're there, it's not so bad. Like you roll with your day and you learn some things and you're only going to get better.
Well, like you said, there can be some, maybe not for you necessarily, but the people you hire in the trades can be some early starts, 7 a.m., sometimes 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And sometimes long days that you already said, right? During the busy season where it's 10 or 12-hour days. And so showing up after a 12-hour day is important because your employer is counting on you to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Nicole, I want to thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. And students, I'm sure you're going to get something out of this. One last thing I want to ask you is, which would you call your home reserve?
Oh, Saugeen First Nation.
All right, so a big shout out to Saugeen First Nations. Awesome. Thank you again,
Thank
Nicole.
you.
And I want to say to all the students, stay tuned for more videos to come.